Oh my god! Alright, so today we're going to go over and get started throwing Jack Black's engine back together, but first, quick little garage update. If you go back to like last week, sometime maybe Monday or maybe the week before, I don't remember, I showed you guys this hill and it came out to like where you can see this grass here. And I'm going to be putting the pole barn there with the doors this way. And it is just blah, just gutted all of it. I am so thrilled. And then like halfway through Saturday it started downpouring and kind of shut us down. This whole thing turned into a big soupy mess. We got it to where they realistically could put up the pole barn now, but I want to get this leveled out and packed down and stuff as much as possible so that as soon as they start putting the pole barn up, once that's finished, they can lay the concrete inside and then we're pretty much good to go. Now you can see these poles here are basically going to be that wall. I might try to move it back a little bit further if I can, but you can see it's going to go from there all the way to there. It's going to be a 30 by 56. I don't like how close it's going to be to the house, but you know, there's not really a whole lot I can do about that unless we dug it back more. I'm just so freaking excited about this. I'm so happy to be getting super close to having my own shop again. Anyway, let's go to the garage. Alright, so this is our bone stock 350 bottom end, completely untouched. I'm not even going to pull it apart to gap the rings, even though eventually it might see nitrous, maybe a turbo. Haven't really decided. I'd like to do nitrous that way. Goldie Hawn's supercharged, James Brown will be turbocharged, and then this nitrous. I think it'd be cool to have one vehicle with each power adder. But we'll play that by ear. I don't like committing to anything. Anyway, I went with a comp cam, the XE274. Yeah, 274H-10. Controversial choice, maybe, maybe not. I think it'll work good in our application. Pretty much anything this will do will be better than what we had before, because I think it's been down on power for quite a while. It never performed the way it should for an 11-to-1 compression engine with that cam, that intake, a big old single plane. It should have made pretty good power. It should have put that thing like at least 12.9, but I think it's been down on power for a while. So pretty much anything we do here will be better than what we had before. And if you do like the Wallace Racing calculators, based on our mile per hour and stuff like that, it was making, I think, like 280 horsepower, something like that, the old engine. So this thing, I went with a cam that was kind of well known. There was a lot of information out there where I could see like a combination that someone has, how it performed, what RPM it did what, and it just so happened that the test motor that Comp ran this cam on the dyno was pretty similar to what I'm gonna have here. Theirs was a little different. It was 40 over, so it was like a 356, different carburetor, but same intake, different heads. So it won't be exactly the same, but it will be pretty close. And that engine made peak torque at, I think, 3,900 RPM and made like 410 foot-pounds of torque. Our converter is a 3,800 stall converter, so that'll get us launching real close to peak torque, give or take a bunch of factors, of course. And it made peak horsepower, I think it made like 369 at 5,900 RPM, but I wanted something with a lot of information out there so that I can pretty much just follow a recipe, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what we're doing here. It's not going to be anything special. It's going to be real basic. Like I said in the last video, we're just going to reuse the aluminum heads, throw them on this, slap this cam and lifters in here, and probably reuse the Edelbrock Performer intake, again just for simplicity to keep costs down. This cam, I got it from Summit. It was 200 bucks. So that with head gaskets, intake gaskets, oil, coolant. I'll probably just run water so the track doesn't get mad at me when we inevitably overheat and puke all over the track. Stuff like that. We should have the engine and everything back in the truck up and running for 300, 350 bucks max. So that's kind of the main reason why we decided to stay with the small block. There were a couple people that were commenting on the last video where we tore the old engine down saying like, you could have done an LS for a lot cheaper. And yeah, I could have. I like to kind of overestimate costs. Like, for example, Advanced Adapters sells a kit to mate an LS to a Turbo 400 for, I think it's like 180 bucks. So I use that as kind of like an estimator for what I would need. Obviously you can buy like a 6.0 flux plate, I think, or a spacer or whatever it is you need for a lot cheaper. You can get them used sometimes. But like I said, I like to overestimate so that there isn't any like surprises. Kind of did a Trump thing there. So there isn't any surprises when it comes to funding, basically. I like to overestimate as much as I can. So when I said 2,000, that was 2,000 with hopefully everything that would have been involved. New fuel pump, new fuel lines, because this is low pressure stuff. Radiator hoses, coolant, oil. That engine needs a new water pump. Things like that. So it realistically could be done for 15, maybe 1,300 bucks. But I like to have that cushion just in case anything goes wrong. Anyway, I think that's kind of enough introduction about that. It's nothing special. It's hydraulic flat tappet. All I did was get the cam and lifters. I don't know if those push rods are going to work. That's something that I'm going to have to wait until the engine's kind of all together and check the push rod length to make sure that the rocker arm geometry is good. Make sure it's in the center of the valve stem and it's not falling off one way or the other. Yeah, that's something I actually forgot about with this, but I think that'll be the only thing that we'll have to get aside from oil and gaskets and fill it up with water. So I guess let's start throwing this thing together. I know that in the sloppy world that this is kind of a no-no, but I'm gonna take a peek at the cam bearings, see if they're rusted or whatever, or all mauled up. They're actually fairly decent. I don't know where my phone is. Yeah, they actually, I don't see any pitting or anything on them, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Because we've never had the pan off this. I think I'm gonna flip it over. Well, I should check to make sure we drain the oil, which I really don't know if we did. See what it looks like inside, and then we'll just know if it's safe or not. Well, everything looks kinda normal.
Looks pretty damn good.
Like half tempted to say pick up some more orange paint. Almost just destroyed it on the table. Let's make sure it matches with everything else. 246.3, 246.3. We're good. I'm gonna try and do this a little differently this time and just glob it on this last one. And then here, yeah. Let's go. Let's just fill my hand with that fucking donkey jizz. Just fill my hand with it. Just make sure it's nice and lubered. Let's give this a little bit more. I'm trying to be safe, come on. Good Lord. Now as far as why I'm not putting it on the cam lobes, I'm going to coat the lifters in assembly lube. There we go. There's no reason to beat up the lobes any more than you have to, right? Throw the timing chain on, spin the engine over so that it's at top dead center. But when you do these, you do a dot to dot, and that's actually top dead center on cylinder 6. So if you put the distributor in with it at dot to dot, you'll be 180 out. I've done that way too many times. Starting to learn though. Where do you need to be? Where the fuck did that dot go? Right, almost directly east. That's looking much better. Ow, fuck. And then I'm gonna roll it over a couple times and make sure that it's still lining up. Because if it doesn't, then we have issues. We used to have a socket with the keyway in it to spin these over, but don't know where that went. So this is why you want to double check your work. I lined it up with the wrong circle, so I'm gonna pop this back off and then redo it and then check it again. Why didn't you guys tell me I did the wrong circle? Fucking idiot. Okay, let's try this one more time. What kind of moron? Let's roll it over again. All right, we are finally good. It is worth pointing out that I have the cam installed at 0 degrees. It is ground with 4 degrees advance in it. So I don't see any reason to go further than that or to retard it to put it at like a true 0. I think we'll be fine with it the way it is. So I'm going to finally tighten these bolts up. I might put a little blue Loctite on them. And then as soon as he gets back with the gaskets and stuff, we'll throw the heads on, get the oil pan back on. I can finish up the front cover here. And then honestly, if we just keep cranking, we might be able to get it all together and get it thrown in the truck today. Now in a perfect world, we'd start it up and run it on the engine stand, let it break in like that, but I don't think we have a real easy way to do that for like, even if we did it for 15 minutes, I don't know if we would have a good way to do that without just being a real pain in the ass. So I think we'll wait until we get it in the truck to actually break it in. And for the most part, we're just gonna follow Comp's directions for breaking in the cam. I will say that I know I do a lot of things the wrong way. Usually I know when I'm doing things the wrong way, and this is one of those cases. Whenever you're breaking in a flat tappet cam with dual springs on your heads, you want to take one of those springs off. I think it's usually the inside one of them. You usually want to take one of those springs off so that it's not putting a ton of like seat pressure and stuff on it. I'm not gonna do that. We've broken them in before without ever taking them off. If it was an engine that I actually cared about, I would take the time to pull the springs off, break it in. But let's be real, guys. Keep your expectations real low with this channel. I just want the truck to run. If it lasts 2 weeks, so be it. Then it'll be completely my fault, but I'm not gonna do it. Nailed it.
About it.
I am a little, but at this point I say fuck it. But it is, I just want to be on record saying that it is getting real close to walking off the edge of the valve stem. engine is all back together. Well, all together for the first time. We'll see how long it stays together. But yeah, it is pretty much ready to go back in the truck. Primed the oil system. Everything's good. Didn't see any oil leaks, which is also nice. We got stuff for like the temp sensor and everything ready to go. We think we got everything ready. And did verify that this is at top dead center, that it's reading correctly. So like I said, we should be good to go. Every time we break in a flat tappet cam, it always makes me super nervous, so trying to double check everything, we should be good.
Pull them lines off of there.
Yeah, we'll have to do that once it's up.
And
just have to.
Water and radiator.
Yeah, gotta do that. Got to tighten the temp sensor.
I just did.
Okay.
You got to put the starter on. Well, everything to the hoist.
Yeah, pretty much the only stuff that's left is torque converter, rest of the bell housing bolts, starter. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Pull that line out and fired up and
break that cam in, and hopefully we don't break the cam. Jack Black's new heart is in, and man, it's been a long day.
yeah.
So close, but we're gonna wait and finish it up probably tomorrow, which will be the next video for you guys.
It is 9:30 at night.
It is 9:30 at night, Weatherman Mike says. So hopefully by the end of tomorrow we'll have the truck running and driving, assuming all goes well with the break-in, which we haven't flattened one yet, knock on wood, but I think I just jinxed us. So
No, we probably won't be able to drive it tomorrow.
why?
We get 4 days of rain.
We don't.
Tonight.
We can just putt it down the road.
We have no wipers. Or do we?
We do.
Oh, okay. God, we're classy. We got wipers.
Yeah, it's still technically a street truck. We could get it legal. Although I think our lights don't work.
Yeah, headlights don't work.
But that's okay. We can hook those to a toggle switch if we really wanted to. But I think that's probably going to do it for today's video. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you next time. Can't wait to hear this thing run.